I sat in my father's study, watching him sign away our family's historic Victorian mansion to my younger brother Michael. The house I'd grown up in, the one I'd helped restore room by room, was being handed over without a second thought. "It's just practical, Emma," Dad explained, not meeting my eyes. "Michael needs a proper home to start his family. You're still single, focused on your career. You understand." I did understand, more than they knew. While they'd been grooming Michael as the golden child, I'd built Wilson Global Properties into one of the largest real estate investment firms in the country. Not that they knew that. To them, I was just their daughter who worked in real estate. "And the beach house in Newport?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "Also going to Michael," Mom chimed in from her perch on the antique settee. "He and Jessica need a suitable summer home for entertaining." My phone buzzed quietly, a message from Marcus, my actual executive assistant. "Offer submitted on Ocean View Estate. Waiting for response." I smiled slightly, thinking about the sprawling mansion on Newport's most exclusive street that my parents had coveted for decades. The one that had just come on the market and the one that Wilson Global Properties was about to acquire through one of our shell companies. "What about my trust fund?" I asked, maintaining my role as the seemingly struggling daughter. Dad shuffled uncomfortably. "Well, sweetheart, we've decided to use that to help Michael start his investment firm. He has such ambitious plans. Plans that would never materialize, since Michael's brilliant investment strategy involved borrowing heavily against properties he didn't yet own. Properties that, ironically, my company now controlled through various subsidiaries." "I see," I said quietly. "And where am I supposed to live?" "You have that cute little apartment downtown," Mom offered brightly. "It's perfect for a single woman." The cute little apartment was actually the entire top floor of the Wilson Tower, the headquarters of my real estate empire. But they'd never bothered to visit, too busy attending Michael's endless housewarming parties and yacht christenings. My phone buzzed again. "Marcus, Ocean View Estate offer accepted. Closing possible within 24 hours. Well, I stood up, smoothing my deliberately modest dress. I should get back to work. Some of us still need to earn a living. "Emma, don't be bitter," Dad sighed. "Michael just has a better head for business. He understands the importance of building wealth through property." I thought about my company's portfolio, over $5 billion in prime real estate across 3 continents, and bit back a laugh. "You're right, Dad. Michael certainly knows how to acquire properties. Mainly by leveraging himself to the hilt with loans that my company's now held." As I drove back to my office, another message came through. "Ocean View Estate sellers accept accelerated closing. Papers ready for signature." "Execute," I typed back. "And Marcus? Make sure the news reaches my parents. Eventually." The next morning I sat in my real office, the penthouse suite of Wilson Tower, watching multiple screens track my company's global real estate holdings. The Victorian mansion's deed transfer to Michael was processing, along with my acquisition of Ocean View Estate. "Your brother's latest loan application just came in," Marcus reported, sliding a tablet across my desk. "He's trying to leverage the Victorian mansion already." I scanned the documents, noting how Michael planned to use the house I grew up in as collateral for yet another risky investment scheme. Which of our subsidiaries received the application? Atlantic Lending. Should I have them decline? No, I smiled, thinking of the bigger picture. Approve it, but with terms that require extensive property improvements. I want that house restored properly, even if Michael doesn't know he's doing it with my money. My phone lit up with a call from Mom. "Honey, are you coming to Michael's housewarming party next weekend? He's invited all the important families in Newport." "I'll try," I replied, watching another screen show the final transfer of Ocean View Estate to my ownership. "Work is pretty busy right now. Emma, you need to network more. Michael's already joined the Newport Yacht Club and he's only owned the beach house for a month." I glanced at another monitor showing the yacht club's ownership structure. Wilson Global Properties had acquired it through a shell company last year. Michael's membership had been approved because I'd instructed it to be. "By the way," Mom continued, "you'll never believe what's happening with Ocean View Estate. Someone bought it yesterday. Your father is devastated. He's been wanting that property for 30 years. "Really?" I kept my voice neutral. "Any idea who bought it?" "Some investment firm. Sterling Properties or something. Michael says he'll find out through his connections. Sterling Properties, one of my numerous shell companies. Well, maybe the new owners will sell eventually. It's not fair, Mom sighed. That house would have been perfect for your father's retirement. We'd finally be part of Newport's elite circle. Just then Marcus appeared with more updates. Renovations team ready for Ocean View Estate. Should we proceed with the improvements your parents always talked about? I muted the phone. Yes. Every detail they ever mentioned. I want it perfect. Back to Mom. I have to go. Client meeting. Of course, dear. Though you really should consider joining Michael's firm. He's doing so well. I ended the call and turned to Marcus. How long before Michael's loans come due? 3 months. He's already behind on payments for 2 properties. Perfect. I stood and walked to the window looking out over the city my family thought I merely worked in. Schedule the Ocean View Estate renovations to be completed in 4 months. And make sure my parents hear about every improvement through their social circle. The exact improvements they always wanted? Down to the imported Italian marble they mentioned at dinner 5 years ago. I smiled, remembering how they'd dismissed my suggestion to buy the property back then. Sometimes patience is the best revenge. My phone buzzed with a text from Michael. Hey sis, need a small favor. Can you help process a loan at your little real estate office? Just a few million for a new investment. If he only knew he was asking the CEO of the company that held all his existing loans. Sure, I texted back. Happy to help. 3 months later, I watched from my office as Michael's financial house of cards began to collapse. One by one, his over-leveraged properties were facing foreclosure. All managed by different subsidiaries of my company, though he still didn't know it. Your brother's trying to refinance the Victorian mansion, Marcus reported. He's been denied by 12 banks so far. All owned by us, I assume? Naturally. He's down to his last option, Atlantic Lending. I smiled, remembering how Dad had dismissed my financial acumen. Let him submit the application. I want to see how he explains his current situation. Just then my phone lit up with a family group text. Mom was beside herself. Ocean View Estate is magnificent. The new owners did everything we ever dreamed of. Italian marble, English gardens, even the conservatory your father always wanted. Michael replied immediately. My connections say it's owned by Sterling Properties. Working on getting a meeting with their CEO. Good luck with that, I murmured, considering I was sitting in that CEO's office right now. Dad chimed in. Maybe they'll sell. We can't let that house slip away again. I turned to Marcus. Time to set the final phase in motion. Send the foreclosure notices. Within hours, Michael's carefully constructed image of success began unraveling. The Victorian mansion, the beach house, his other properties, all facing imminent foreclosure. Right on schedule, he called an emergency family meeting at his soon-to-be former house. I arrived last, dressed not in my usual modest attire but in a tailored suit that cost more than Michael's car. It's all falling apart, he was telling our parents. Every bank in town has denied me. Even my own sister's company. What was it, Atlantic Lending? Actually, I said from the doorway, Atlantic Lending is just one of my companies. They all turned, seeing me perhaps for the first time. What do you mean, your companies? Dad asked slowly. I sat down, pulling out my tablet. Wilson Global Properties. Sterling Properties. Atlantic Lending. All subsidiaries of my real estate investment firm. The same firm that now holds the notes on every property Michael owns, or rather owned. Mom's hand flew to her throat. But you work in a small real estate office. No, Mom. I run one of the largest real estate investment companies in the country. That cute little apartment you never visited? It's the penthouse of Wilson Tower, my headquarters. Michael had gone pale. You're behind the foreclosures? Your company owns everything. Including, I pulled up the final document, Ocean View Estate. You know, the dream house Dad always wanted but never bought? I purchased it 3 months ago and had it renovated exactly the way our parents always imagined. Dad sat heavily in his antique armchair, the one I'd restored as a teenager. Why didn't you tell us? Would you have believed me? You were too busy giving everything to Michael, convinced he was the business genius of the family. Meanwhile, I built an empire right under your noses. The foreclosures, Michael whispered. You can stop them, right? We're family. Family. I laughed softly. Like when you took my trust fund. Or the Victorian mansion I helped restore. Oh, Michael. The foreclosures will proceed. But. I pulled out another document. I'm willing to make a deal. What kind of deal? Dad asked warily. Ocean View Estate. Here's that. A gift, if you admit you were wrong about me. About everything. The silence was deafening. Mom started crying quietly. And Michael's properties? Dad finally asked. He can keep the Victorian mansion, properly restored this time, under my company's strict oversight. But his days of leveraging properties for risky schemes are over. I stood smoothing my expensive jacket. Oh, and those membership dues at the Newport Yacht Club? I own that too. Maybe now you'll all understand that success doesn't always look like what you expect. As I left them sitting there, surrounded by the trappings of wealth they were about to lose, my phone buzzed. Marcus, Ocean View Estate deed transfer papers ready. And your brother's loan applications. Approve the refinance for the Victorian mansion, I replied. But with conditions. It's time my family learned about responsible property management. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't taking everything away. It's showing them exactly what they missed by underestimating you.